One time, a sheikh from Al-Azhar, mashallah, he had written khutbah in his pocket. Students, they figured out that he always, mashallah, puts the khutbah in the pocket of the external garment. So one time, they decided to play a trick upon him. So he took off his outer garment to make wudu. So they just got the written khutbah away from his pocket. So he goes upon the mimbar and says, Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Keeps on putting hand in his pocket and could not find the khutbah. He figured out that the students had taken it away from him. He said, I knew one time it was going to happen, and I always kept a spare copy under my... I came, mashallah, and I looked at Sheikh Ziyad, he's writing something. So I said, let me sneak into his notes. Maybe there are certain things I might say or he might say which are... And I figured out that most of the things which I want to say, he has already written there. So I thought, now Sheikh, mashallah, he has done to me what the students did to the other one. So maybe, and he's my teacher, not the student. But then I always, mashallah, keep a spare there. So now you are going to listen to my spare. Now, if you look into the family, family is what is the present of any society. The future is in our youth. The community or our older adults, they are our tradition, they are a kind of past. What happens that if the family absorbs the legacy of the past and transmits it to the future, then those communities and those societies, they live, they are vibrant, and they are successful. And this is a model which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us, has given us. مَنْ لَمْ يَرْحَمْ صَغِيرَنَا وَلَمْ يُوَقِّرْ كَبِيرَنَا فَلَيْسَ مِنَّا. So Rasulullah sallam, he has basically connected both the future and a kind of legacy. And this is the model which is the successful model, a balanced society. A society which takes care of its youth, empowers them, trains them, utilizes them, and encourages them to take the torch in the future. A society which gives a lot of significance to the family and makes sure there is a demarcation line between husband, wife, children, parents, grandparents, and those duties and jobs are specifically designated and basically specified. A society which is balanced when it comes to spiritual needs of that society and the material needs of that society. A society, a community, which basically strikes a balance between literalism and what we call the spiritual interpretation of what is given to them, between letter and the spirit. A society which strikes a balance between traditionalism and modernity. My brothers and sisters, if you look into the model which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam provided us, and we see in the lifestyle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also in the society of Medina. And I'm going to focus a lot upon these three aspects. A balance between spiritualism and materialism, a balance between letter and spirit, and a balance between traditionalism and modernity. Because I see the Sheikh is going to be talking about youth, about family, and about the society at large. It is important that we as youth, as adults, as older adults, we strike a balance between our spiritual need and between our material need. We have got this physical body. This physical body is from this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created it from dust. But this is the cage. This is the sphere which is needed for our spirit to flourish, to work through, and also lean or long towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, a Muslim society, a modern society will never be extreme in its material aspects, nor will be extreme in its spiritual aspects. This balance, what the Quran says, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا, a balanced ummah, an ummah which strikes a definite balance between what is needed to make their spirit really satisfied and also their body satisfied. One time, 3 people, they went to the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And the hadith says, جاء ثلاثة رهط إلى بيوت أزواج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وسألوا عن عبادة. They went to the household of Rasulullah sallam and asked his wives about the ibadah pattern or obedience pattern, devotion pattern of Rasulullah sallam. And when they were told about it, كأنهم تقالوها, they really felt that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. All of his, whatever is there is forgiven, and he is the Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If this is his pattern in ibadah, where do we stand from that? So one of them decided that he would always, after the salah, and never ever sit down or basically take any rest. The other one said, I will always fast and never break my fast. The third one decided that he will never marry. So when the Prophet ﷺ was told about them, he did not directly pinpoint who are those people, but he went to the masjid and said, what about مَا بَالُ قَوْمٍ كَانُوا كَذَا وَكَذَا? What about the group of people who said, I will never get married, I will always fast, I will always do my prayer? I am more God conscious than any of us. But I do the salah and I rest. I observe the fasting and sometimes I don't. And وَأَتَزَوَّجُ النِّسَاءِ, and I get married. فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. The person who deviates from my pattern of balance is not part of us. So yes, the spiritual needs are there, but you cannot take it to the extreme, a balance between spiritualism and materialism. But alhamdulillah, it seems that we are God-conscious people and we are not taking it to the extreme, but I do see another extreme going towards materialism. In our society, whether among youth, whether among adults, whether among the older, mashallah, senior citizen you call it, there is too much extreme when it comes to material gratification. And this is the major problem in our society at large. And believe me, whenever people start working towards instantaneous gratification and all the time thinking of pleasures and not true sa'ada or happiness, this is where the imbalance takes place, the imbalance which the Quran does not allow and which is the antithesis of وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا.